It will not be possible to defeat Islamist extremism whilst denigrating, for instance, people in this country who are concerned about immigration. It's not possible, because a very, very large proportion of people in this country are concerned about immigration. It tends to be the number one, or if not number one, two issue in polling in this country.
Of course, Douglas Murray is talking about immigration-related issues and polls within the United Kingdom. Let's take a look at some numbers from the United States. In January of 2016, Pew Research indicated that 51% of U.S. citizens found that immigration-related issues were a top priority, and 35% referred to them as important but lower. Only 14% found that they weren't too important, shouldn't be dealt with, or didn't know. What that means is that a full 86% of people found that it should be a top priority or an important priority on its own. In terms of talking about it, February of 2016, Pew Research Center did another survey that indicated immigration matters came up 27% of the time often, 36% of the time sometimes, and only 20% of the time as rarely, 16% as never. This means 63% of people, just under 2/3, discussed immigration-related matters often or sometimes. Only 1/3 of the people rarely or never discussed it.
So, as it were, those people who just say, people who talk about immigration all the time, those people aren't beyond the pale. They might be perfectly decent. They are, in most cases, perfectly decent people who are concerned about an issue. And I don't think it should be glibly dismissed any more than people who are concerned about demographics. There are people who have serious concerns about demographics because they're seriously concerned that the society they were born into is changing beyond recognition. That doesn't mean they should be dismissed as whack-job kooks or racists. They might have a perfectly legitimate point. I think they do. The second thing, it was demonstrated by one of the people who said, this gentleman there, talked about, going to the protest of the Pope rally. If I may say so, this, I wasn't there, I didn't approve of the protest because there were various things around that I think are complete guff. One of them is the fact that people love saying they went to the protest of the Pope thing. The Pope, the sort of, Pope's not on board with gay marriage. I'm a gay man, I'd love to have gay marriage approved by the Catholic Church. But, they're not going to. Meantime, I really, really wish that people would reserve their ire for the people who don't just want to stop me marrying, but want to throw me off a cliff. Much better way to spend your time. A lot of this is a simple mental breakdown of the left. I hesitate to say this in the presence of Nick Cohen, who's chronicled this better than anyone. But the mental breakdown of the left. The fact that at so-called left-wing meetings, we have the obsessions with Palestine, for instance. There was one recently, again, I saw Gays for Palestine. Give me a break. If Gays for Palestine were in Palestine, they'd have to move to Israel. Just don't fall for this rubbish, and don't fall for it when it's coming from the right or the far right, and don't fall for it when it's coming from the left or the far left. Have some decency. We'll have to make judgments along the way, and we'll disagree with them. I'll disagree with Mariam, I'll disagree with Shiraz, and all sorts of friends and colleagues. We'll disagree on individual cases and people. But the idea that you chuck whole swathes of people out of the debate is such a bloody left-wing thing to do. The left loves doing this all the time. The debate will be done on my terms. Well, how easy and how unsurprising it is that the terms are always drawn around themselves. I hope we can do a bit better than that. Thank you.
Let's take a look at another couple of polls that people may find interesting. In October of 2016, 55% of people polled found that since Obama's election in 2008, the immigration situation had gotten worse. What's more interesting is that only 10% felt that it had gotten better. In March of 2016, when asked if increasing the number of ethnic groups, races, and nationalities in the United States would make it better, worse, or the same, 58% of people said that it would be made better. 33% that it would stay about the same or not make much of a difference, and only 7% said that it would be made worse. From the previous polling numbers, it's interesting that 86% of people said that immigration should be a high priority, while only 7% said that it would be made worse with greater diversity. What's perhaps more interesting is that one of these polls was recently updated. Last month, in February of 2017, a new poll was conducted. Now, 64% of people thought that increasing the number of ethnic groups, races, and nationalities in the United States would make it a better place to live, while only 5% found that it would be made worse. If only 10% of the people thought that the immigration situation was improving, 86% felt that it was an important issue, and only 5% now feel adding diversity would make things worse. This tells me that people who have concerns should not be dismissed as anti-immigration or dismissed as Islamophobic. There are a wide range of issues, and people want to be able to discuss them openly. The far left's dismissals and attempts to stifle speech on any number of matters only allow the far right to become emboldened. A large segment of the population wants to discuss these issues openly, and clearly don't have a simple anti-immigration stance that warrants protests designed to end discussion. Remember, like and subscribe, but most importantly, leave comments and engage with others. Open discussion is always needed. If you have nothing valid to say,
Zero fucks given.